Hello, and welcome to the Sweet Southern Sports Podcast, where we talk about SEC sports. Today we'll be covering the Alabama Crimson Tide 2025 season predictions for their football season. So, keys to a strong season: get Ryan Williams the ball. This wide receiver on the outside, he is insane. He's extremely fast and explosive. I think it's really important that the offense leans on him a lot so they don't have to drive down the field consistently. That he can hopefully, Ryan Williams can get them a couple of points on just a couple of plays. Stop big plays defensively. So defensively, Alabama has a really good group. They bring back 8 defensive starters. They have a lot of NFL players on this roster. It's super important that they make teams earn everything against them. Just no busting coverage or anything like that. And then QB manager. So they don't have Jalen Milrow back there, but they have Ty Simpson, who's a great passer. But he's not going to be flying around being able to make all these crazy running plays for the Tide this year. So it's really important that he's just a good game manager and manages the offense well. Looking at the schedule, they start off at FSU. FSU's quarterback made some comments about Nick Saban not being there and not being afraid that they were going to be able to handle the Crimson Tide pretty easily. I think FSU will be much improved than last year where they were horrendous. But I do think Alabama goes in there and gets a win. I think they pull away in the second half pretty easily. Then they have ULM and then Wisconsin. Very easy games for the Crimson Tide again. At home, they'll handle them pretty easily. So again, they'll be at a 3-0 record after that stretch with a bye week going into Georgia. So at Georgia, Georgia has really struggled with the Tide in the past few years, especially. I think Georgia is going to come in as ready as they can be. Sanford Stadium will be electric. Alabama beat Georgia in a crazy classic game last year at Alabama, where Alabama dominated the first half, Georgia dominated the second half, and it came down to the wire on a crazy Ryan Williams play. So, again, I do think that won't happen this year, though. I think Sanford Stadium will be the difference in that rowdy environment. I think it will really stall out the Alabama Crimson Tide offense at times with that really good Georgia defense with that crowd behind them. So I will pick Georgia for that game, bringing the Alabama Crimson Tide record to 3-1. I do think they handle Vandy at Missouri and versus Tennessee pretty well, though. I think Alabama would just overpower those teams, which would make them 6-1 at this point. Then they have at South Carolina. At South Carolina, especially in October, they are known for getting upset. South Carolina Williams-Brice Stadium is a really difficult team to go against. They have Lenore Sellers back there, great quarterback, extremely physical, but can throw the football for sure. Has a lot of weapons all over their defense. I think this could be one of those days that South Carolina just pulls off one of those insane upsets. I do think it will be close, though. I do think it will come down to a couple possessions, but with Sellers and just the magic of Williams-Brice Stadium, I think South Carolina will get the win here, making Alabama's record 6-2 going into their second bye week. After their second bye week, they have LSU and Oklahoma and Eastern Illinois at home. I do think the LSU game will be crazy. LSU has a lot of weapons, especially offensively, this year. At this point in the year, I also do think LSU will be a pretty highly ranked team as well. I think both of these teams will be competing for possibly a playoff spot down the stretch here. But I do think Alabama wins with that home field advantage, and I think they will make it really difficult on that LSU offense. It could turn into a shootout, but I do expect that the Alabama defense steps up, at least in big moments in this game. Then they have Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma has one of the toughest schedules in the country. I think by this point, Oklahoma will be a little bit weaker at this point in their schedule. I do think Alabama handles them rather easily in the trenches, getting a good run game. And then Eastern Illinois will be their senior day. Alabama will roll over them really easy, blow them out in the first half, so the seniors can come in the second half. And then they have at Auburn. At Auburn always is insane. Last time they were there, Alabama threw a last-second touchdown in the corner of the end zone to Bond, and it was just absolutely insane. At Auburn typically has crazy things happen. It could happen again this year, but I think by the last game of the season, Alabama will have a much better roster and a much stronger roster than Auburn does. I think Auburn will be pretty beat up at this point, so I do have the Crimson Tide going into Auburn and getting a win. So after that, I have a 10-2 record for the Tide, with a 6-2 SEC record. So when it comes to it, this is definitely a CFP team, from the prediction standpoint. Their best case scenario is 12-0. Could totally see that happening. They can win every single game that's on the schedule. But then worst would be 7-5. This would be if that offense really just can't get clicking. They do play a lot of explosive offenses. So at Georgia, at Missouri versus Tennessee, at South Carolina versus LSU versus Oklahoma, at Auburn, all those teams have potential that when they get hot, they can be tough to beat. So you have to make sure you win your A game each week. So that would be where a 7-5 case scenario would happen. But overall, Alabama should be ready for a good season. Please make sure you like and subscribe, and then look out for more videos in the future.